It shouldn't be a surprise to many MMA fans that there have been multiple dominant American UFC champions who were among the best in UFC history. Welcome to WatchZilla. Today we are going to give you our 9 best American UFC fighters. It's likely that any UFC fan will have at least one incredible American fighter on their list of greatest fighters. The talent pool from the US MMA scene is incredible, and it has only continued to get even better with the rise in popularity of both MMA and the UFC. Fight camps sprout up across the country, and they're often taught or coached in part by some of the best fighters that have ever stepped into the octagon. Letting rookie talent work with some of the all-time greats is only bound to create the next crop of future legends. It shouldn't be a surprise to many UFC fans that there have been multiple dominant American UFC champions. Number 9. Dominick Cruz. Famously known for his unorthodox approach, Dominick Cruz has been one of the best martial artists throughout his career. He transitioned smoothly from the WEC into the UFC during the merger and has been at the forefront of the sport for years. The two-time UFC bantamweight champion managed to only take 3 losses throughout his career so far, and those losses came from incredible fighters like Henry Cejudo, Cody Garbrandt, and Uriah Faber. In the eyes of many fans, Cruz is one of the most exciting fighters to grace the bantamweight division. While he has lost to Uriah Faber, that doesn't mean he hasn't gotten a win over the Hall of Famer. He's also beaten legends like Demetrious Johnson and TJ Dillashaw. With someone as hard to handle as Cruz, it's not shocking that he's beaten such incredible talents. Number 8. Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes is perhaps the greatest pure wrestler of all time. There aren't many fighters who can boast to have had over 50 fights, and there are even fewer fighters who can boast of nearly 50 wins, but Matt Hughes can. His high motor kept his opponents on the defense most of the time, and he never quit until the bell was rung. With numerous fight honors and UFC records that still stand to this day, the two-time UFC welterweight champion even racked up an 18-fight win streak at one point in his career. Hughes has been inducted into 2 separate wings of the UFC Hall of Fame, and when UFC fans look at his record, it's not all that surprising. While he took a few smaller losses earlier in his career, Hughes only lost to the likes of BJ Penn, Thiago Alves, Josh Koscheck, and Georges St. Pierre. Like Couture, Hughes played a huge factor in popularizing the UFC. Number 7. Dan Henderson. There is so much that could be said about Dan Henderson. One of the most exciting knockout fighters in MMA, Dan Henderson has proven to be a threat no matter where he fights. He dominated leagues outside of the UFC and then continued to be at the top of the rankings throughout his career. The legendary UFC Hall of Famer was a champion in multiple promotions, had multiple fight honors, and even won the UFC 17 middleweight tournament championship. Henderson is also the oldest competitor to fight for a championship. Many of his losses came from champion-caliber opponents like Michael Bisping, Daniel Cormier, and Victor Belfort. With 32 wins throughout his career, no one could have blamed any of his opponents for being a bit worried to face a prime Dan Henderson. Number 6. Daniel Cormier. It's easy to see why Daniel Cormier makes many UFC fans' greatest fighters of all time lists when fans take a quick look at his accolades. The second champ in UFC history. A UFC heavyweight champion, UFC light heavyweight champion, multiple fight honors, and other championships across other MMA companies make him a living legend. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, but also has the stand-up game to go toe-to-toe with the best in the world. While he came out as the loser of this trilogy with Miocic, Cormier had wins against high-profile opponents like Anderson Silva, Dan Henderson, and Alexander Gustafsson. His only recorded losses come from Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones. Number 5. Randy Couture. Randy Couture might be the most influential fighter in UFC history. Randy Dwayne Couture is an American actor, retired mixed martial artist, and former collegiate and Greco-Roman wrestler. He's known for his grind-it-out style against the cage and mauling people with dominant wrestling. Pretty much any major UFC fan can list the mind-blowing number of accomplishments that Randy Couture has under his belt. Saying he's a UFC Hall of Fame fighter is no surprise when fans remember he is a 3-time UFC heavyweight champion, a 2-time UFC light heavyweight champion, and an interim light heavyweight champion. Couture holds the record for the most championship fights with 15, and he managed to take out some of the greatest fighters of all time. When Couture lost, he usually lost to the best of the best, like Brock Lesnar, Lyoto Machida, and Antonio Nogueira. Couture is a UFC legend. Number 4. BJ Penn. His record might not be there, but BJ Penn was a monster in his prime. Penn has been in many big fights over the years and is the former UFC welterweight and lightweight champion. Over the years, Penn has not only been able to perform at a high level, but he has also been known for hyping his fights. He's highly regarded as one of the most dangerous submission artists in UFC history. After the loss to Street Pierre, Penn has made headlines for Greece great the accusation of Street Pierre utilizing Vaseline to cheat in their fight at UFC 94. Number 3. Chuck Liddell. Perhaps one of the most recognizable figures in the world of mixed martial arts is Chuck the Iceman Liddell. The celebrity status of the former UFC light heavyweight champion has been known for quite some time. In the early 2000s, Chuck Liddell put the UFC on the map with his ferocious knockouts while wearing his famous mohawk. Liddell could be credited as being almost everyone's first favorite fighter when they began watching MMA. While Liddell is currently facing the brink of retirement, there is no doubt that he has been a popular figure in the sport, especially on the internet. Number 2. Jon Jones. While his do no wrong image has changed in the eyes of many fans, Jon Jones is arguably one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. His ability to change game plans on the fly has led him to 26 wins and only 1 loss via disqualification. After winning the lightweight title at just 23 years old, Jon Jones defended the belt 11 times. Jones is a 2-time UFC light heavyweight champion and holds the record for the longest light heavyweight championship reign in the UFC. After beating everyone in the division, Jones has moved up to heavyweight where he awaits his first opponent. He hasn't been facing weak competition either, with wins over Lyoto Machida, Alexander Gustafsson, and Daniel Cormier. Most days, Jones looks unstoppable. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 1. Demetrious Johnson. There are levels to the martial arts game. Competitors like Angela and Christian Lee show plenty of promise and are already at the top of their respective divisions at incredibly young ages. They could very well stay there for the foreseeable future. However, neither of them is close to touching Demetrious Johnson's place as one of the greatest to ever do it. Demetrious Johnson is an American wrestler and mixed martial artist. He is the first and current flyweight champion of the Ultimate Fighting Championship and currently holds the longest active championship reign at 8 title defenses. His transition to one has been just as seamless, winning the Flyweight World Grand Prix thanks to a second-round submission and 2 decision victories. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchZilla and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.